Okay, let's start with compressors today. So we have already earlier seen what are pumps. So today we'll see the section of compressors. We'll introduce the compressor, how are they different from pumps, and what defines a compressor, what is their purpose, and how they work. So let's start with the basic thing. Uh, the compressors, there are many different types of compressor, but let's recall where would you have seen them. So one of them would be somewhere where you visit a cycle repair shop. So the person uses a compressor to fill air inside your tires. So those are reciprocating compressors. And how do you identify a reciprocating compressor is you would have a cylindrical tank at the bottom, a volume section over there, and a motor or a combustion chamber somewhere, which will use your fuel, which can be petrol, diesel, kerosene, etc. And this is simple IC engine type of configuration for generating a reciprocating motion, which will be converted to a linear motion. And there are many different numbers of compressing volumes that will take in air. So these are, here we have seen three chambers which will compress my volume. They will get compressed. So here is the transmission section from where my rotary motion from the engine is being converted to a motion which is helpful for the compression of air. So these are reciprocating type of piston cylinder arrangement, and they'll take in air, they'll compress the air, and they'll store the air inside the tank. And in a tank there are specifically two things. There should be one outlet and there is one wall. So that wall indicates what's the pressure inside the tank. And once the pressure which is set before is achieved, it will indicate some buzzer or some light, and then we can start using the compressed air. And after some time, when the air is being compressed to a required pressure, we can stop the engine, we can stop using the compressor section, but still the tank will have the compressed air, and we can use the compressed air for some time until the pressure inside is as per the requirement. So definitely the pressure will start reducing once we start using there, but the pressures are much higher. They can be 5 bar, 10 bar, 15 bars. So they are good enough. So we can use the pressure, this tank which is having compressed air for 15-20 minutes, half an hour, depending on our requirement. And then later, when the pressure is not enough, we can again start the machine and start compressing the air and store them in the tank. So the air is being used at some energy unit that is storing some energy. So over here we can see the main thing which we should remember is the motor and the compressor. So here is the motor section, that is the combustion chamber section, and here is the compressor section or the assembly. So there are two different houses, two different assemblies. So they are open to environment. We can see the compression happens only in the chamber inside the cylinder over here, and it is not open to environment. It is open to environment, not housed in a single assembly. And then when we come to a hermetically sealed compressor, these are the compressors which are used in our refrigerators or in our air conditioning units. So they are also reciprocating type. But over here, the they are also having a very similar arrangement like this. But over there, this motor section and the compressor assembly both are housed in a single assembly. So they are closed in one single assembly. So we can ensure that this shaft can be open to environment, like it can be open in the assembly, and still we'll have the compression and will not lose the pressure. So over there, this system can be open to itself while it is already been locked to the assembly. It is housed inside assembly. So over there, the compressor motor assembly is in same space, and here they are housed in different assembly. That's the main difference. And you should remember where are they used and how do they look like. So this will look like a very closed sealed pack assembly, generally black in color, and a small 1 feet by 1 feet of size. And they are not generally very large. They are generally used in refrigerations. And third is the axial compressor. So these are the compressors which you would have seen in a gas turbine engine. So wherever you fly in a airplane, recently the airplanes are generally having steam turbine engine. So they are having the compressors which are of axial configuration. Earlier we didn't have the steam turbine engine, so they used to maybe have reciprocating type of engines for compressing of air. But right now the engines are steam turbine engine, and over there we have axial compressor and axial turbines. So we'll see the turbine in next chapter also. So what is the difference over there? The turbine and compressor. Let's have a look. So the spacing between blade tips and outer housing is maintained. That's the rule. So these coils which you see are different blades. So there are multiple blades over here also in turbine, and we can see that the outer assembly is of reducing cross section, and over here in turbine it is of increasing cross section. So what's the difference? The compressor, it is increasing the pressure, reducing the velocity. So they should look like this. So here the area is going to reduce, and since the area is reducing, the velocity will increase, and by Bernoulli's equation, increase in velocity results in decreased pressure. Sorry, decrease in area will increase the pressure, and over here in turbine it is going to expand, so area is increasing, so pressure will reduce. Now let's come to the main point. We have centrifugal compressors. So the main thing is it addresses to the compressibility of the fluid. So earlier I said we'll differentiate between the compressor and pump. So here we'll talk about different things related to a pump and a compressor. So what does pump do? We have seen earlier, pump does not compress the liquid. It is handling the liquid. The working fluid over there in a pump is a liquid, and liquid are assumed to be non-compressible or incompressible fluids. So they do not actually compress the fluid. What do they do is they just displace the fluid. So there is an energy provided to the machine, that is the pump, and it will give the kinetic energy to that fluid, and that kinetic energy results into an increase in pressure somewhere else. So we are just displacing, we are pushing the liquid using some kinetic energy. We'll put the mechanical energy. That mechanical energy gives the kinetic energy to the fluid, and the fluid passes on, has some jerk. That kinetic energy will eventually convert into pressure energy, and that change in pressure energy is generally seen by increase in the elevation of the fluid. So that Z gain is the pressure difference, that is the static pressure gain. So pump are also giving energy, while compressors are also giving energy. But the one major thing difference would be the pumps do not change the temperature of liquid, because they are just displacing the fluids, or they are just imparting kinetic energy to the fluid. They are giving the velocity. They are not giving, they are not increasing the pressure. Hence, there is no change in the temperature of the outlet of the liquid. While in compressors, we'll see that there is a rise in temperature of the outlet gas or steam. So compressors can handle air, steam, or a mixture of gases. So any type of gas or a vapor, steam, air, all can be handled. So they are the working fluids in our compressor. So we will see in an example also that there is an actual temperature rise of the outlet gas, and because we are actually compressing there because of the property of the fluid or the gas, that they can be compressed. So we are actually compressing the fluid, they are being compressed, the pressure is actually increasing, there is no movement of there. So we can see in earlier also it's static. After being at higher pressure, we are not displacing the fluid directly, so it is stored in a tank. So there is an actual increase in pressure, and the tank actual increase in pressure because of PV is equal to RT relation, that is gas equation, approximate gas equation for any fluid, any gas. So we can see that hence, since the pressure has increased, the temperature will also increase, and we'll see in the example also. So the air or any gas which is compressed is used as energy storage unit or energy storage device. So now we have seen different types of compressor. You would have seen in your nature or environment somewhere. So the major difference or classification of compressor is here. So we have positive displacement type and a dynamic type. And in positive displacement, we are actually not giving any dynamic pressure. In positive displacement, there is only static pressure rise. So wherever I have written PR, it means pressure. There can be multiple different types of positive displacement compressors. They can be rotary or they can be reciprocating. But one major difference will be they only give static pressure rise to the fluid. And another difference is since there is only static pressure rise, the velocity is not increasing. There is no need of diffuser. So you would have remember what is the purpose of diffuser. The diffuser is going to reduce the velocity and increase the pressure. So if we have some dynamic head gain by the fluid, which can be converted to pressure rise, static pressure, then the diffuser is used at the end of the compressor, that is the outlet of the compressor, and that the diffuser section, it will reduce the velocity, increase the pressure. So we'll have more static pressure rise. But over here, when there is no increase in velocity of the fluid, we do not need the diffuser. While in displacement dynamic type, there is actual increase in the velocity. So there can be two types of dynamic compressors. They can be centrifugal compressor and axial compressor. Now you know what type of things I'm describing. We have seen so the centrifugal compressors earlier. So how do they look like? A centrifugal compressor looks like this. They are the rotating part over here at the center. The fluid is entering axially inwards and it will leave the radially outwards over here. So there is an increase in the area as it is moving outwards. The increase in area reduces the velocity, and reducing the velocity will increase the pressure because of Bernoulli's equation. So over here we have both dynamic and static pressure rise. Dynamic is because since the velocity has changed, we'll use a diffuser at the end. So there can be a separate casing outside the blades, which will increase the area of the fluid flow, and the increase in area will reduce the velocity and increase the pressure back. So we'll have more pressure rise. So over there we can use a diffuser. And then there are many different types of things we can look. There can be lobe type, where there are lobes or gears used. Fluid enters from one side. These are rotating in same way. Sorry, the upper one will rotate in clockwise direction, while the below gear will rotate in the anti-clockwise or counterclockwise direction. And at the end, the fluid is being compressed when both the gears are coming towards each other, and the outlet fluid have increased pressure. Scroll are also positive displacement type. And in axial, there is a very good advantage because of them, because of which they are used in steam turbine engine, where we have a large energy transfers required. So this is because we'll see there are two types of blades over there, which are rotor blades and stator blades, which means the combination of one rotor and one stator blade makes one stage of compression. So if we increase the number of rotor and stator blades, we can increase the staging. So we'll have multi-stage compressor, and the rule should be that we should have alternate stator and rotor blades. Now we'll see the details of centrifugal compressor from the next video.